Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rosie, and on this channel we talk about parenting neurodivergent children while suffering with mental health. On today's video we are talking about meltdowns. What are they? How to manage them? And I'm just going to give some little techniques that I've tried to help kind of extinguish them. I think that's the better term, because they can be a lot. What is a meltdown? So the National Autistic Society says a meltdown is an intense response to an overwhelming situation, and it happens when someone is overwhelmed and temporarily loses control of their behaviour. A meltdown can be expressed verbally or physically, or even both. So with my daughters, luckily they're not physical. Not physical to me, sometimes physical to themselves. So obviously that is quite alarming. But most of the time it is very verbal, and it's very kind of the way you just other people that don't have neurodivergent children describe them as like tantrums. That is because an autistic child is acting kind of like a toddler, because their mental age is a little bit behind. So they are having like a toddler response to a situation, because that is all they know. So my children, they tend to lash out, sometimes with throwing stuff. It's never directed at anybody. Sometimes people get hit in the crossfire, but most of the time it is just kind of angry, and a lot of stomping and a lot of arms flopping, and it is distressing. The difference between a meltdown and a tantrum are very different. Obviously tantrums are very common around 2 years old, but normally children tend to grow out of them, and it's normally when they're not getting something they want. Obviously a meltdown can still happen. Like my oldest daughter, she tends to have meltdowns if she's got something in her head, and something is like in her mind, she's like, I'm going to get this, and then we say no, and she's like flat out, and she just kind of goes into a rage. Tantrums they tend to grow out of, whereas meltdowns it's not. And most meltdowns happen when there is a over stimulation of one thing. It could be like supermarket lights are too bright, music's too loud, there's a loud motorbike that goes past, and like vibrations from like a speaker. Like they don't like that feeling, or the rumbling of a big lorry going past, which also is noisy as well. So it is something like they go up and up and up and up and up, and then they just blow. It's kind of like the cup. I don't know if I've discussed this before in another video, but someone explained it to me like a cup. So a child will have an empty cup at the start of the day. Say, for example, putting their shoes on is exhausting. It riles them up, fills the cup up a bit. School doesn't go the way they want, fills the cup up a bit more. And then so by the time you get them home from school, their cup is already filled up. And that is why most of the time like meltdowns tend to happen at home. They can happen at school. It just maybe means that their cup is a bit smaller than someone else's cup, but the cup fills and fills and fills and fills, and then it overflows, and then that's when the meltdown happens. Like there's too much. How to avoid meltdowns? I tend to, so even though my daughter's adamant that she doesn't need ear defenders when we go out, I tend to bring them with me, because if I know there's going to be a lot of noise, there's going to be a lot of sound, there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of overcrowding, people are going to touch her as she doesn't like, I'm just a bit like, okay, we'll put the ear defenders on to get rid of one of those triggers. So it's not as much for you to digest and for you to deal with. That's a good way of dealing with trying to stop meltdowns from happening, which I think is very handy, is to kind of be on top of it before it's going to happen. I know with my oldest, like she'll be fine. She'll be fine in the market. You know, we go to a market a fair drive away, but I was walking through there and we didn't have her with me, but I knew if we brought my oldest here, she would struggle, and she would struggle at home though. When we got home, in the moment, she'll be absolutely amazed because there's so many fidget toys for sale. There's so many dumplings. That's a new thing. Like, they're obsessed with dumplings at the moment. I don't really understand it, but hey. But yeah, there's so many dumplings. There's so many cloves. There's so many. It's all great. But I know as soon as we get home, she's just going to crash out. And she's going to struggle to regulate. She's going to pick on her sister just for purely breathing in her direction. That's 9 times out of 10, that's what the argument's about, is, oh, your foot is on my cushion. How dare you? And then it's just a full-on meltdown. And you're just like, it's not just about the foot on the cushion. It's something else. Like, there's something going on at school. You're obviously overstimulated, and back to the cups again, your cup is overflowing. You've had too much go on today, too much masking, too much trying to regulate yourself. If you have got like a send-betweener, like what I have, so they are neurodivergent, but they're not like in the local authorities' eyes a special needs kid in a special needs school. They can still deal with mainstream. That's our struggle at the moment, is my children do have SEND needs, but not enough for the council or for anyone to give us support. So we are trying to juggle it all by ourselves. But if you do, I would really recommend trying to do a emotional regulation kind of techniques with them, but try teaching them before they get to that point. So just like on a random Wednesday, go through like the finger breathing. So breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. I don't know whether that's the right way to do it, but that's how we do it. There's other techniques like the infinity breathing, rounding at 8, grounding as well. So it is 5 things you can see, 4 things you can smell, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can hear, and 1 thing you can taste. I don't know whether that's the order for it. Officially, I know it's 5 things you can touch, and I definitely know it's 1 thing you can taste. So that's very good, because it brings your child out from this kind of dark cloud that they're in, and it just brings them down and lets their feet touch the ground and just get grounded. I found when I worked with young people who suffered with anxiety that technique was perfect. It was on point for them. So just I'm trying to think of any other techniques that I know. I may do like another video on different techniques, actually. That might be good. So maybe do a video about different techniques that we can try to get rid of the anxiety, because a lot with SEND children, that they have real big anxieties about different things. So I may do another video about, or maybe a short, that might be good, on different techniques that I've tried for myself personally when suffering with anxiety, and I've tried with my children, and possibly I may try new ones, use them as guinea pigs for you guys to try different techniques and tell you whether, yeah, this one worked, great, we tried this one, it didn't work for us, but it might work for you. Maintaining a good routine is really important. It may take you some time. Don't feel pressured into getting a routine in straight away, and it needs to be perfect. We need time to jig things around and make things work how you work. There's no perfect routine for everybody to follow. You know, you may pick your children up and they may want to verbal dump everything that's happened to them in the day, but my children just don't like that. They don't like being questioned as soon as they get out of the door. So we tend to just give them their time, chill out for a bit, everyone kind of deregulates all together, and we all just kind of come together at dinner time and then we have a chat, because that's what works for us. But it's taken us years to get that routine. You know, it's a lot of trial and error, and things are not going to work out, and things change a lot. When you think you've got something down to a T, no, they'll change it up. They do it all the time. They'll be like, no, don't want to do that anymore. I want to do this instead. Or they'll be like, I really love this snack. Buy loads of it. And so you buy boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes. And then the next morning they'll be like, no, I don't like it anymore. So you're just staring at these 27 boxes of fruit gummies that you bought from Costco, and you got all your families go to Costco and buy these fruit gummies because they love them so much. I've still got a box of them in my snack cupboard because they don't like them. I'm trying that everyone that comes into my house. I'm like, do you want some of these? Do you want some of these? Here, take some of these home. Oh, you like them? Here, take 20. Because I've just got so much of it. And, you know, what would life be if they didn't keep you on your toes, eh? Because that's what our little darlings do. Yeah, it's just kind of getting your routine down, but be willing to change it up. And be willing to do all that work that you've just done to get your routine all over again. Trial and error, trial and error. So it's a long journey, and it is draining. The night before my birthday, my eldest woke up 5 times, and then the cat decided to jump on my face in the middle of the night and left a nice little scratch here across my face. It was like, happy birthday, mum. Here, have this. So I think that's it. That for meltdowns, like, they're not, either your children have them regularly or they don't. But I think my main advice is to eliminate as much of the sensory overload before it gets too much. Just be on it. Like, if you're going to a boot sale and you know there's going to be lots of people, you know, there's going to be cars revving, put some ear defenders on, get to it before it gets too much, and then you're dealing with a full-on meltdown. And then be prepared for when you get home for them to just let it all out. I am going to be doing a video on self-care because I'm taking that journey myself, and I'll go into a bit more detail about self-care and how to manage and fitting it into your day, and how to make the most of like the 5 minutes that we get given, because I know everyone's children are different. I'm quite lucky. My children at the moment are going to school okay, so I have the day to do all my self-care bits, and then they go to bed at the moment. Fingers crossed they're going to bed okay. So it's really about recharging, and I've gone on a real big journey, and I'm doing a lot of work on myself to make sure that I don't feel bad for taking 5 minutes of the day to go and put moisturiser on my face, do some eye cream, do a face mask. You know, I'm terrible. I will feel guilty for it, but I'm trying to work hard and not feel bad for it. How can we look after someone that needs so much when we can't even care for ourselves? And, you know, we can't fill up someone else's cup when our cup is half empty. So it's really about recharging, and I've gone on a real big journey, and I'm doing a lot of work on myself to make sure that I don't feel bad for taking 5 minutes of the day. I'm also going to start doing shorts, as quite a lot of people watch them, and I appreciate that some people just don't have the time to watch a full video. So I will do little shorts about little subjects. So I'll go into more detail about fidgets. I'll go into detail about, I might do one on PDA, because we are questioning whether my girls have that profile as well. So I've done a bit of research on it. But if there is anything you would like me to cover and to do the research for you, to find the place, to find the places to find the information, just leave me a comment and I will do my best to do some research and to do a video on it. So you don't have to be scrolling through your phone trying to find different web pages and finding different links to go on. You can just come onto my video and I will just give you a rundown of everything. Before I go, I just want to apologise for if you heard any noise. Obviously I'm not going to know until I go back and edit it, but I'm sitting in obviously a new location in my house today. I've got some new signs for you guys to look at, so you don't have to just look at me. You can look at my signs, you can look at my little knickknacks. My photos, obviously I've covered up my children. But yeah, my cats have decided that actually this is the best moment to be active. I've been asleep all day and all morning, and oh look, Mum's recording. Let's jump on the table and wobble the tripod, and you know, so it's just frustrating. I've got one asleep in the box next to me and one's in the area, and she keeps deciding, you know what, I'm just gonna make the area shake while Mum's recording. So I do apologise. I just don't have time in my busy in my day to re-record this, so but fingers crossed they get used to me being here next week to record. So yeah, I haven't decided what I'm doing yet for next week's video. If you've got any suggestions, leave a comment and I will do my research, and do it for you. Or if I can't do it this week, I'll add it to my list. I'll add it to my notebook, and I will try and do a video for you. Obviously, if it's not got a lot of information required, I may just do a short, but I am going to try and get back on it, guys. I'm sorry for being away for so long, but we had the Easter holidays where I was looking after not only my own children, I was looking after my cousin's children, and we had, what else we had? We've had sickness bugs. The girls took it in turns to have sickness bugs once a week for a long while, and then we've had allergies to deal with. That's a whole different kettle of fish. Allergies and appointments for allergy clinic, and it's been full on, but I feel like everything's getting settled now, so I feel like I can get back on it and I can get a good routine in. I've got a good planner that I've dug out from my piles of notebooks that I collect over the past few years, and I found a weekly planner, so I'm on top of it now, guys, and I will be back next week. So I hope you have a great week, everyone, and I will see you soon. Bye.